So I'm the director of E2. So Ecosystem 2, we do environmental like data visualization. So we create like an API that helps people manage different landscape data. And we've used that with like creative people and places programs in like Blackpool, so like arts organizations to do like citizen science apps. We've used it with farmers in Somerset. We're using it with an NGO in Malaysia at the moment through the British Council. We do a lot of technology development, but we also do like the design side of helping people use it. And it's more trying to help people who don't have the capacity to work with that data, but who might want to. E2 was something that I was working another job on in a university, and I kind of built it up, and then I took a bit of a leap with it at some point where I was like, I'm going to put some time into it, and was just going like full pelt grant writing, just trying to get some bids. We had some luck getting some commission, and then a couple of grants off the top of that. So that's where we're into at the moment. Is that we're considering potentially taking equity on in some way or some debt financing, but we're really just trying to like find the right fit for it. So using the database opened our eyes to like these different sources of funding and different ways of doing things. That made a big difference. We do potentially want to scale up in some way. So the database helps us kind of do a bit of horizon scanning and seeing what's out there.
So before the live funding database, before you came across Consider Capital, like where were you at in your headspace around fundraising? What were you doing?
I always found it really labor intensive, and I had this like Google sheet basically, and if I found something that I thought was a good fit for his funding wise, I'd lash it into the Google sheet. And I had this intention of having all the other bits of like, information on when the funding rounds were and stuff like that or whatever. And I just like, you're just so time poor if you're trying to like do, if there's two of you or at the beginning stages. So it was, that was my solution before. That was like just putting all of these things down in a Google spreadsheet and revisiting them when I remember to do it. And then, my other way of finding stuff was mainly like subscribing to newsletters, different foundations or different grants or whatever. They were the main two sources of me keeping track of things. When I'd like kind of just took that bit of a leap to like trying to work on it full time, I was probably spending like 5 days out of the month looking for grants and things like that. Being able to have that extra bit of time where like that 5 days is condensed into maybe like a day or 2 days, you can find whether things are a fit or not. It gives you a bit of time to actually consider writing it, and you're not like, I really feel like that's like that, buying back some of your time is amazing in that situation, especially when you don't have that flex at the beginning of trying to start something off.
Now you remember, like how has that changed? Like, and how do you typically use it?
So I'll set a specific period of time every week or to look at it. On a Monday morning or on a Friday afternoon. I'll like log in and have a look for things. And just like I use all the filters to kind of go through things. So we do a lot of like climate specific stuff. So it just helps having those little data filters is a massive help for us. It just helps us comb through things and seeing things that are like potentially opening soon as well. Helps you maybe plan ahead a little bit.
When you're going in there, have you already got an idea of what you're looking for then? Or are you
Usually
just kind of browsing?
Sometimes I'll just browse. Sometimes I'll just browse through it, but normally, like it'll be like a specific thing. Say, for instance, there's a project and we know we need to fundraise a little bit more, and I'll use those filters to be like look by amount. It's really helped me find lots of like different like accelerators and equity options, but I haven't like gone in or pursued any of those particularly yet. But it's like as a research thing, it really helps you figure out what is out there and what different options there are. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people feel like it's just like a black or white thing. You have to go to some kind of like investor and like compromise what it is that you're doing. It's helped me like it educates me a little bit about more what that's out there without it being really labor intensive.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, me and Esme attended the same fast track program, like an entrepreneurship fast track program, and basically, I didn't know anything about business at that point, and the whole thing was just geared towards VCs. So
Yeah.
you build a business for like 2 years, a pitch to like a panel of VCs and a whole room of peers, and they're just like, "This isn't going to make money if it's not like viable for us." And then you just like, I just left and was like, "Oh, okay, well, nice try, I guess."
We don't have to just walk that tightrope, but like we do have to like bootstrap things, and that's where like those kind of grants or small programs, and if you're a good fit for them, it's like a learning journey. I mean, I don't know how many like knockbacks on average people get, but the more you kind of learn about whether you're a good fit for something, grants wise or not, it makes like a massive difference. Having those different filters really kind of helps you narrow it down, because you can kind of almost like sometimes like hope you're a good fit for it and waste your time applying for it. And I think that is what's really useful about that database, having those filters on it, because you can kind of be like, this is the right fit for me. You're not trying to shoehorn your way into something that's ultimately going to cost you time. If you're going to go and pitch to investors in a traditional way and you're not really aware of what's out there, that kind of feedback can be quite, it can be quite, oh, it's not going to make us tons of money, and you don't realize that that's all that group of people are in it for, and that there are other, that there are other options for that. So you can almost kind of feel like, well, I need to completely change what it is that I'm doing to like fit that, but actually, you don't necessarily have to do that. That's been a big like thing, seeing those different options out there.
That's really helpful. I think other people will benefit from hearing that. If someone else asked about the Live Funding database, like how would you describe it to a friend?
If you've been through that process of having to search for things and knowing how like labor and time intensive it is, having something where someone's actually gone out and done that legwork for you and done that due diligence and categorized it, like it just saves so much time. That's the main thing for me. You kind of get to buy back some of that time. But then on top of it, there's a WhatsApp group that you go into, and that's quite active, and people will like, they'll ask questions about things like SCIS assurance and all of that kind of stuff. And, maybe like articles of association, there's a few little things that just kind of come up, and that's kind of quite nice that people can just ask those questions, do some like kind of self-promotion of things that they're doing, or if they've got a grant that they found on the database, all of that kind of stuff. So that was definitely like a nice bonus to it as well, because it's hard to ask those questions if you've not got anyone who's done that process or done SEIS assurance and all of that kind of stuff. You need to ask. Another thing that was really good about it was seeing the invite only foundations aspect of the funding. That was like, that's definitely not an avenue that I'd really considered before. I guess you've got to really like market yourself and do a lot of networking to kind of get into those channels. I think that's really good. It's so many like degrees of separations, like better from what I was doing before. Like I still search for stuff sometimes, and there's a few things that maybe come up that you're not going to catch everything that's out there. But like I feel like in terms of like, yeah, the change from that to before, it just kind of makes me feel like, okay, I've found a couple of things that I can go for now that like I'm a fit for. Getting that time back is the main kickback from it. It's really good. You've obviously put like loads of graft into the other side of it. Just the way that like the grant landscape is, there's times where things are like up and down. It can be like a little bit quieter maybe towards the year end, and then stuff happens. I feel like features wise, it's as simple as it needs to be for it. And the interface is engaging for it. It's very usable. Normally what I'll do is I've got like a calendar, and it gives me like a reminder, and I'll just put any of the links in that I find in there, and I just like put them in there so that on Monday morning I'll like look at them. It's actually saved me so much time in that specific like niche of, if you're trying to start something off, that's like probably the most valuable thing you've got, is that you need to get money into it.